Sheriff's Office cracking down on souped-up golf carts in the villages. Villager apparently failed to heed the neighbor's advice to take landscaping plan before the ARC. A homeowner was ordered to get rid of an unauthorized driveway extension. A resident blames a poor design for a pond that's plagued with 33 sinkholes. A son with a history of erratic behavior pulls a knife on his father and steals his car. Villager enters a plea after allegedly masturbating at a kitchen window. Former commissioner declared not guilty by the judge who put him behind bars. An unlicensed driver from Guatemala arrested after caught behind the wheel. Death and dementia create a serious problem at an abandoned home in the villages. A villager and son suffer head injuries after being knocked from a golf cart by a Lexus. A New Yorker escapes prosecution after sneaking his mother out of an assisted living facility. How many holes in ones did we get this week? Letters to the editor. This and more coming up. This week's news is brought to you by my YouTube and Patreon members. Let's have some more news. A search warrant was served Wednesday morning at a home in the villages where child pornography had been uploaded. The search warrant was executed at 7 a.m. at a home at 1171 Badger Street in the village of Dunedin. Detectives assigned to child exploitation investigations and who are members of the Internet Crimes Against Children Federal Task Force received information that an individual residing at this address was uploading child pornography. The image uploaded appeared to be a child under the age of 10. After an extensive investigation, a probable cause was developed to obtain a search warrant. At the conclusion of the search warrant, the suspect, 65-year-old Timothy Allen Burke, was placed under arrest for possession of child pornography. During the execution of the search warrant, an on-site preview was conducted on the suspect's computer. An additional image was subsequently located which depicted two children under the age of 10 engaged in sexual activity with each other. While examining the suspect's computer, it was learned encryption software was present, which makes it difficult for law enforcement to access files that may contain additional child pornography. Several electronic devices were seized and will be going to the Federal Department of Law Enforcement for forensic analysis. More charges are expected, pending the results of the FDLE's forensic analysis. Burke was booked without bond at the Sumter County Detention Center. If you have any information about this investigation, contact the Sumter County Sheriff's Office at 352-793-2621. To remain anonymous, you can call Crime Line at 1-800-423-TIPS, 1-800-423-8477. Heavy fire damage at a home in the villages has been traced to a paper shredder. The Village Center Community Development District Board of Supervisors on Wednesday afternoon at Savannah Center received an update on the blaze that occurred at about 4 a.m. December the 4th, Wildwood Avenue in the village of Charlotte. The village's Public Safety Department arrived on the scene in less than 6 minutes. Firefighters found heavy smoke and flames coming from the right side of the home. The crew made entry into the residence and began extinguishing the flames after ensuring no one was inside. The cause of the fire had been determined to be an electrical anomaly in the area of the paper shredder located in the home. One firefighter was treated for minor injuries after suffering second-degree burns to the leg. That's all we have on that. We wish that firefighter well, by the way. Sorry for the home that burnt down, too, for the homeowners. Looked like significant damage. You guys saw the picture. A man exhibiting erratic behavior was arrested with a vaping device at Wawa. I read these because even though these are not village residents, our streets are open to the public. Our squares are open to the public. This guy right here, this despicable character right here, can be walking around the square, just like that guy that got child pornography. He lives here. Beware. Members of the Sumter County Sheriff's Office stopped at about 7:30 p.m. Saturday at the Wawa on U.S. Highway 441 in Lady Lake, where they noticed Ian Uriah Rickman of Lady Lake sitting outside and acting erratic. The Detroit native was in possession of drug paraphernalia, including a vaping pen. He also had a small amount of fentanyl, according to the arrest report. Rickman has a long history of arrests. Well, I'm shocked. He was arrested last year when he was found hiding in the bushes at the village's elementary school in Lady Lake. As a result of Saturday's arrest, Rickman was booked at Sumter County Detention Center on a $3,000 bond. I say just keep him there. A villager was arrested after he allegedly attacked a woman who tried to cut his television cord with a knife. Well, the only thing you could do is any worse is take his remote control box away from him. The woman was found shortly before 6 p.m. Friday, distraught and crying in the driveway over the home she shares with 75-year-old Sujui Shapira in the village of Hadley. The woman said she and Shapira had been arguing throughout the day, according to the arrest report. She admitted she had attempted to cut the power cord to the television, which the Romanian-born Shapira had been watching in the living room. She said she was motivated by revenge, as Shapira had done the same thing to her a couple of months ago. She grabbed a knife and was walking toward the TV when the 6'1", 190-pound Shapira grabbed her, began shaking her, and pushed her against the kitchen counter. She said he twisted her arm back and she dropped the knife. She said he pushed her against the wall and was squeezing her neck fairly hard. The woman said she asked Shapira to let her go, but when he refused, she stomped his foot. He released her and she ran outside. Good move on stomping the foot. That's actually a defense move. Shapira was arrested on a charge of battery. He was booked at the Sumter County Detention Center and released after posting a $500 bond. Here's an update on a story we done, I believe it was last week, about a guy that was masturbating in front of his neighbor. A villager who had been charged with masturbating out his kitchen window has entered a plea in his criminal case. James L. Martin, 78, of the village of Sanibel, was released from the Sumter County Detention Center on Friday following his arrest the previous day on a charge of exposure of sexual organs. Martin had been nude from the waist down, masturbating in front of an open kitchen window. When he knocked on the window to get a woman's attention, according to the arrest report from Sumter County Sheriff's Office, when she looked, Martin began vigorously masturbating while looking at the victim. A woman saw him describe Martin's sexual organs, including the color of his pubic hair. When deputies arrived at Martin's home at 3003 Twisted Oak Way, he admitted he was the only male at the residence. He said he had been standing in front of his window, masturbating, and said that he does this for gratification. He denied that he knocked on the window. Well, that makes all the difference in the world. Martin is being represented by criminal defense attorney Mark O'Conan, who entered a plea of not guilty on behalf of his client Monday in Sumter County Court. Martin remains free on a $500 bond. Here's a report that I have never heard of. This is the first time I've heard of it, and I'm kind of intrigued. A resident is blaming poor design for a pond that has been plagued with 33 sinkholes. Think about that. 33 sinkholes. I don't know where that number come from. I don't know how they got that number. I haven't heard any reports of any amount of sinkholes like that in one area. It's always a couple, 3 or 4, but 33? Interesting. The Sugarcane Park Pond is located behind the home of James Fensk, who lives at 2560 Carruthers Path in the village of DeSoto. He and his neighbor have repeatedly appealed for help from the Community Development District 12 Board of Supervisors. CDD 12 is part of a project-wide advisory committee, which heard from Fensk on Monday morning during a meeting at Seabreeze Recreation Center. The 33 sinkholes have occurred over the past 5 to 6 years on the western side of the basin. Residents living at the pond have become so frustrated at the perceived inaction by the village's government, they hired an independent engineer to evaluate the situation. Their engineer found the design of the pond was flawed. Fence criticized the Band-Aid solutions, which have been attempted in the past to fix the pond. He and his neighbors paid a premium to live on the pond. That's the first warning I give everybody, and I've done it 100 times. A $3 million solution has been examined, but that idea had been shelved by the PWAC. Fence urged PWAC to move forward with the $3 million plan and to seek reimbursement for the work by filing a claim against the pond's designer errors and omissions insurance policy. Assistant Director Manager Bruce Brown noted that the pond, formerly known as Basin D12-10, is a man-made standalone pond. It is not interconnected to other ponds. It is not used for irrigation. Its primary function is to collect excess stormwater. Yeah, for those of you that don't know, a lot of these ponds are connected with piping, and they can actually move water from one big pond to another pond. If an area is getting low on water, they can actually get water from another pond and move it to that area. And most of that water is used for watering golf courses and things like that. Significant time, effort, and funds have been expended in repeatedly repairing this basin. And based on the engineer's assessment, the basin is located in a very karst terrain area with significant underground fissures and caverns in the subsurface limestone. A less costly $691,700 repair project, which would include construction of a berm at the pond, had been considered by PWAC. However, the price was determined to be excessive and was rejected on Monday by PWAC. Brown noted that neither the $3 million option or the $691,700 berm project would guarantee success at the problematic pond. It is not a good use of residents' money, Brown said. PWAC members agreed with his assessment. It sounds like it's an endless problem and we don't know how to fix it, said PWAC member Jerry Vicente, a Community Development District 7. I can tell you how to fix it. I've seen it done before around here. Quit messing with it. Quit spending money like that. It takes about 500 dump trucks of dirt. Fill the hole in, plant trees and flowers in it, and walk away from it. PWC members agreed the best solution, at least for the time being, is to plug the sinkholes with grout as they occur. Why don't we give it 12 months? If repairs become excessive, we have to look at a different solution, said PWC member Steve Bova, a supervisor in Community Development District 10. There's no guarantee in the villages. You spend an excessive amount of money to get that special lot that you can afford with that special view. Everybody wants that, right? There's no guarantee in the villages from anybody, anywhere, that'll guarantee that view as long as you live there. None. So you can be on a lake, and if they have lake problems like this here, sinkholes taking a lake away, all of a sudden your view is gone, and there's nothing you can do about it. So just know that if you go to spend that extra money to buy a water view of some kind. A villager arrested on a drunk driving charge scolded police and told them to chase the real criminals. Anne Marie Savetti, 74, the village of Collier, was driving a white Honda SUV at about 9:30 p.m. Saturday on U.S. Highway 27 and 441 and ran a red light, according to the arrest report from the Lady Lake Police Department. An officer who initiated a traffic stop found that Savetti's eyes were glassy and bloodshot. The officer asked questions of the Vermont native, but kept getting the same response. There are way much worse things going on in the world than me right now, she said. She participated in field sobriety exercises, but the one-legged stand exercise had to be halted due to fears of her safety after she nearly fell backwards. She did not provide an adequate breath sample. The officer explained the consequences of not providing a breath sample, but Savetti said she would have her attorney figure it out. And you have that right. During the trip to Lake County Jail, Savetti kept repeating that what she did was not bad and there were many other real criminals in the world that needed to be handcuffed. She was arrested on a charge of driving under the influence and issued a warning for running the red light. She was booked at the county jail and released after posting a $1,000 bond. Here's another report on somebody here in the villages that's been in trouble many times. A son with a history of erratic behavior pulled a knife on his father and stole his car. Eric Carl Blom, 55, was taken into custody Friday on charges of robbery with a weapon, grand theft, and aggravated battery with a deadly weapon at UF Health, the village's hospital. He was booked without bond at the Sumter County Detention Center. The Saskatchewan, Canada native was on narcotics and became very irate when he grabbed a knife from the kitchen and held it up to his father's throat in their home in the village of Lynnhaven. Blom ordered his father to surrender his car keys. When his father refused, Blom forcibly removed the keys from his father's pocket and left in his blue 2015 Honda CR-V, according to the arrest report. The father later told sheriff's deputies he was afraid that Blom would kill him. Blom was arrested last year after he was found hiding in a home. In that case, the same 2015 Honda CR-V had been stolen. In 2020, Blom was arrested after jumping into a retention pond near the Lynnhaven neighborhood pool. At that time, he was being pursued by law enforcement. Remember me and Sue telling you about some dummy who jumped in a pond and the cops kept standing there going, "Hey, there's alligators out there." He was also arrested in an incident in which he posted what was considered a threatening message on Facebook. Now, I got an answer about this guy. He's a Canadian. He's not an American citizen. He is here at our mercy, our pleasure. In Canada, if you have a criminal background, they check it and they decide that whatever criminal background you got is bad. There are certain criminal backgrounds. You're not allowed in Canada. They just turn you around and send you back to America. That's it. You're done. Do the same thing right here. He causes trouble here. He's got all kinds of problems wherever they are. We don't care. It's none of our problem. Take him back to Canada and revoke his passport to come to America. End of the problem. A son is struggling with a home in the villages left behind from his late father. Property at 1717 Francisco Street was the subject of a public hearing Friday morning before the Community Development District 1 Board of Supervisors at Savannah Center. Paul Dupel bought the home in 2015 for $200,000. Dupel, who worked in agriculture in Illinois, died in January 2023. A complaint about the property was lodged July 24 with community standards about overgrown weeds and a tree growing in the eaves. Community standards reached Nupel's son, who indicated the family is waiting on the paperwork to be finalized to be able to sell the home. Supervisor Judy Bubishmeyer, looking at the photographs of the property submitted as evidence, noted mold appears to be growing on the driveway. The mold was not part of the original complaints. An inspection revealed the property remained out of compliance this week. The board agreed to grant 7 days for the property to be brought back into compliance. If it is not brought back into compliance, fines will be imposed. Let me say this about that, and maybe you might think I'm being a hard nose here. $200,000 is what the guy paid for the house in 2015. That house very easily today could be worth $400,000+. All it takes is a phone call and a credit card to go out there and have a landscaper mow, edge, and blow. Being it's a courtyard villa, I'm saying they could get this thing mow, edge, and blowed for $50 a month. And this time of year, they'll do it maybe twice a month, every 2 weeks. In the summertime, it's every week. But for $50 a month, we can get all that done. Now, for another $100-ish, could be $150, it depends. You can get a guy. I have my guy. You can get a guy to go out there with a crew, and they'll trim all the bushes, trim the trees, and haul all the junk away. And as far as the house goes, for facts, $69.95. You can call the no pressure wash people over there, and every 6 months they'll go there and they'll wash that house completely from the gutters down, and it'll look like a brand new house. Now, they're not going to clean your gutter out and get that tree out of there. I don't know what you do about that. I have to call a handyman or something. I don't know. But that's 90% of the work is done just right there. So all you need is a decent credit card and a phone, and all this work can be done, and your paperwork has nothing to do with keeping this property looking right. Hate me if you want, but that's the way I see it. The son of a couple in the villages landed in jail after he was caught driving on a suspended license. Larry Raymond Patterson Jr., 37, who lives with his parents in Villa de la Vista West, was driving a black Lincoln MTX at 5:20 p.m. Thursday when he pulled into the Wawa at County Road 466 and 301, according to the arrest report. A deputy approached the vehicle and found that Patterson was driving on a suspended license. He was taken into custody on a charge of driving while license suspended. He was booked without bond at the Sumter County Detention Center. Patterson was arrested last year when he was involved in a crash at Bonefish Grill in the Villages. At that time, the Pontiac, Michigan native was also driving on a suspended license. A villager was arrested at the wheel of a Lexus in defiance of a suspension of her driver's license. Joy Lingerfelter, 55, of the village of Santiago, was driving a silver 2012 Lexus sedan shortly before 9 p.m. Thursday on Buena Aires Boulevard at El Camino Real when a deputy noticed the decal on her license plate was expired, according to an arrest report from the Sumter County Sheriff's Office. The license plate had expired February 1, 2023. During the traffic stop, deputy found that Lingerfelter's license had been suspended in 2022. In addition, she was wanted on a non-extradition warrant out of Georgia for failure to appear. Lingenfelter was arrested on a charge of driving while license suspended. She was booked at the Sumter County Detention Center and released after posting a mere $250 bond. Amazing. A homeowner in the Villages has been ordered to get rid of an unauthorized driveway extension. The home at 1303 Manes Court in the village of Santo Domingo was the subject of a public hearing Friday morning before the Community Development District 2 Board of Supervisors at Savannah Center. A complaint was received September 26 by Community Standards regarding the driveway extension, which was put in without approval from the, say it together, Architectural Review Committee. The homeowner, Michael Couveau, submitted 2 retroactive applications to the ARC, and we all know how that goes, don't we? But they were rejected in October and earlier this month. Shocking. The board found the property in violations of deed compliance and granted 45 days to correct the problem. That means you got to take that driveway out. Kunovo indicated that should be ample time to bring the driveway back into compliance. Listen, I have said this over and over and over again. If you have any doubt that what you're doing is within compliance of your deed restrictions in your area, whatever area you're in, I'm in District 10, District 8, District 7, District 6, District 12. Some of these rules can change in each district, but if you have any doubt that what you're doing could be a problem or you're not sure, just call ARC. They have no reason to lie to you. They're going to tell you what you can and can't do. Because now you put this in, now you got to tear it out and you got to resod it. This is going to cost you. And if you want to put it back in again, and they may allow you, I don't know if they will. I'm just saying, if you want to put it back in again, now you got to go to ARC, which you should have done in the first place, and get their approval. They may give you that approval, and then you're going to get mad and tell everybody how ARCs is just a bunch of idiots down there and don't know what they're doing when you're the one that put it in without getting ARC's approval. A villager is in hot water after he apparently failed to heed his neighbor's advice to take his project before the Architectural Review Committee. Even this guy's neighbor, not the same guy, a different guy, is there telling you, hey, you got to go. Anyway, apparently he don't even listen to his neighbor. The home of Jeffrey Mayer at 733 Cimarron Avenue in the village of Tierra del Sol North was the subject of a public hearing Friday morning before the Community Development District 1 Board of Supervisors at Savannah Center. A complaint was lodged about a landscaping in July. With community standards, the landscaping walls are about 30 inches tall, well in excess of the 18-inch limit. The landscaping is also too close to the road right-of-way. Community Standards found that Meyer never took his project to the ARC. Meyer said he thought his contractor had handled the ARC application, according to the information presented by Community Standards. Let's stop here. I have mentioned this several times. I have had contractors do work for me that went to ARC and got the approval for me. That's not unusual here. A lot of contractors will do that for you. But here's what I've said. Cover your ass. I'm going to say it again so you understand. I know you hate cussing. Cover your ass. Tell them you want a copy of that approval and keep it. We always got a copy of ours. They don't have a problem giving you a copy, so get it. This guy didn't have a copy, so then you can't really take him for his word. A neighbor, Robert Brightman, told a very different story in testimony before CDD1 board. Brightman said he and other neighbors attempted to explain to Meyer the importance of applying to the ARC. The entire neighborhood encouraged him to do the right thing, but it fell on deaf ears. Now the illicit landscaping is causing drainage problems for a neighbor. Supervisor Kathy Porter, who has an extensive history as a master gardener, looked at the photographs of the tall landscaping walls and offered a dire prediction. The trees will die, and they will. They can't breathe. Meyer was granted 45 days to correct the problem. If he fails to do so, he will face an immediate $150 fine, followed by daily fines of $50 until the property is brought into compliance. Meyer, who did not attend the public hearing, purchased the home in 2021 for $405,000. Well, if you didn't show up at the hearing, we'll be hearing more about this story later on. But please, if you haven't bought here, and you're thinking about it, for God's sake, make sure if you're buying a pre-owned home that everything on that property is within deed compliance, or you're going to be paying money out of your pocket because now you're the new homeowner. If you buy a brand new home and when you know you're going to spend a lot of money doing some updates, everybody does. You're going to plant that tree out there. Make sure the tree is planted where it's not out of deed compliance. You can't plant a tree just anywhere on your property. Not here. Just cover your butt. A Sumter County Sheriff's Office is cracking down on souped-up golf carts in the villages. The speed limit for golf carts traveling on a multimodal path in the golf cart lane is 20 miles per hour, but it is well known that many golf carts are traveling faster than 20. I know they go all the way up to like 22. Many golf carts have been mechanically enhanced to make them much faster than original design. Sergeant Adam Dodds told supervisors in community development districts Friday morning at Savannah Center that the sheriff's office has been targeting some of these souped-up golf carts. It is estimated that they are traveling as fast as 30 to 35 miles an hour. Well, that's too fast. I'll be honest with you, I don't know anybody that goes that fast. I knew one guy. When I first moved here, he brought a golf cart here from wherever he lived. And I don't know what it was. I don't know what was in it, but this thing would fly. I will say that. But the average golf cart here, 30, 35 being souped up, nah, that sounds a bit high to me. I've seen him go, I will say this. I know of a couple that'll probably run 25 wide open, and that's on flat ground. And that's without wind. And that's only one person in it. Now, you may laugh when I say that, but these motors in these golf carts are not that powerful. Put two people in there, it'll slow down 2 miles an hour right there. If you're going uphill, it'll slow down 2 more miles an hour. And if it's windy out, you might be lucky to go 20. So I don't take it real serious. Dodd said the golf cart drivers are being issued criminal citations for operating an unregistered motor vehicle. And that's where they get you. It ain't a speeding ticket. They get you with some serious stuff. It's a serious offense and requires an appearance before a judge, Dodd said. It is just not safe to go that fast. Well, I'll say that at 30 and 35, no, it's not safe. They get squirrely. How would I know that? CDD2 supervisor Jim Conte said golf cart drivers are ignoring the speed limit. Everybody in the villages knows what the speed limit is, Conte said. He also suggested that the street legal designation is being abused, and golf carts which are not officially designated street legal are being operated as if they are street legal. Yeah, I know. I've seen it. That is true. People make stuff up. I am from Philly. Putting a Pennsylvania license plate on a golf cart doesn't make it street legal. Bingo. And I guess that's all in the story. I'll tell you something else, too. Putting your handicap sticker from your car on your golf cart doesn't mean you can park in a handicap parking spot. But it happens everywhere. An unlicensed driver from Guatemala was arrested after she was caught behind the wheel of an automobile. I wonder why that is. Aurora Merida Lopez, 25 of Summerfield, was driving a blue Toyota at about 2:30 p.m. Wednesday on US 301 and County Road 466 in Oxford when a check of her license plate revealed the vehicle's registered owner has not had a driver's license issued in the United States. During a traffic stop, Merida Lopez admitted she has been in the United States for 7 years and has never obtained a driver's license. She was identified by her Guatemala identification card. She was arrested on a charge of operating a motor vehicle without a license. She was booked at Sumter County Detention Center and released after posting a $500 bond. I don't know what to say about all this silliness. Here's a guy that I think got railroaded a long time ago. I'll put it out there. I'll just say it. I think he got railroaded. 1 year ago, former Sumter County Commissioner Orrin Miller was in jail. On Thursday, Miller appeared before the judge who put him behind bars and was declared not guilty. It's been a long, difficult journey for the villager of Sanibel resident, but he's got his eye firmly set on the future. I can't wait to get back to work for the people of Sumter County, Miller said, after Judge Anthony Tanti declared he was not guilty in a hearing in Marion County Court. Miller's case went before the appeal panel in September. Miller's conviction on a charge of perjury was overturned in November. Miller now is demanding that Governor DeSantis reinstate him to the seat on the county commission. DeSantis suspended Miller at the time of his initial arrest. Thus far, the governor's office has been unresponsive to Miller's demand. Miller said he is also seeking more than $100,000 in back pay that he should have earned during his elected term as commissioner. Perjury charge against Miller stemmed from interviews with the prosecutor's office about phone calls Miller had with fellow former Commissioner Gary Search. Miller and Search were elected to the Sumter County Commission in 2020. Their election came after a huge property tax increase in 2019. That was seen as a sweetheart deal for the developer of the villages. Yeah, and as soon as we elected those two in, shit hit the fan. And this poor guy went to jail. Now they found him innocent. I don't blame him. Well, I'm going to read this arrest report about some inappropriate sexual behavior at a local park. Any of you that doesn't like to hear this kind of thing, I'm just going to give you a heads up. I'm going to read the report. You might find it offensive, so just turn the volume down for a minute until we move on to the next one, or go get a cup of coffee. Don't send me any complaints about how you don't like it. I'm giving you fair warning now. A villager was arrested after engaging in an apparent sex act with another man in a local park. There had been complaints of suspicious people and activities at Lake Oklahoma Park on State Road 44 in Wildwood, according to the Sumter County's arrest report. Those complaints prompted increased patrols, including to one at about 3 p.m. Wednesday that led to the discovery of 68-year-old David Samuel Tansey of the village of St. Catherine, appeared to be naked in the wood line of the park in a publicly accessible area. According to the arrest report, he was bent over with another man directly behind him, appearing to have intercourse. When Tansey noticed a deputy approaching, Tansey began to put on his pants before falling on his rump. He was arrested on charges of indecent exposure and committing an unnatural and lascivious act. The second man, who was naked from the waist down, was identified as 60-year-old Vincent Mark Roberts of Summerfield. He also was arrested on a charge of committing an unnatural and lascivious act. Both men were booked at the Sumter County Detention Center and released after posting a $500 bond each. Sick. We have some sick people in this world. A New Yorker has escaped prosecution after reportedly sneaking his mother out of an assisted living facility. This is probably an update of a story that we done months ago. The prosecutor's office recently announced that no information will be filed in the case of 57-year-old James Lawrence Sicard of Astoria, New York, who had been facing felony charges of neglect of an elderly person and interfering with custody. The prosecutor's office concluded that the evidence was legally insufficient to pursue the case. Witnesses described quite a commotion July 9th at the Walmart at Buffalo Ridge Plaza in the Villages. Sicard directed law enforcement to his mother, who was lying on a piece of foam in the back of a silver Honda Odyssey minivan with New Mexico license plates, according to the arrest report. Sicard, who works in props in the entertainment industry and whose television credits include The Equalizer, The Gilded Age, The Good Fight, had summoned law enforcement to the Walmart and indicated he would meet them near the garden section. When a deputy arrived on the scene, Sicard indicated he feared getting in trouble. Why would you fear? Because you kidnapped your mother. Sicard's mother, a former TWA hostess, appeared to be confused, and the village's public safety department was summoned to the scene. She did not realize she was in Florida and thought she was in Massachusetts. She was in need of medical care and was taken from the scene by an ambulance. Deputies learned that Sicard snatched his mother from the Oak Manor Assisted Living Facility in Largo, sneaking her out through a kitchen door. The assisted living staff informed deputies that Sicard's mother is dependent on numerous medications and had missed necessary dosages since being removed from the facility by her son. Deputies noted that none of the women's medications were found in the minivan. Sicard's father died in 2006 after 48 years of marriage to his mother. The father passed away in a nursing home in Massachusetts. Man, what a mess that is, huh? A villager and her son suffered head injuries after they were knocked from a golf cart by a Lexus, which ran a red light. The golf cart had been traveling at about 11:30 a.m. Sunday on Avienda Central at Oak Meadows Lane near Rolling Acres Plaza when the golf cart had the green light but was hit in the intersection by a female villager who ran the red light, according to Lady Lake Police Department. The impact of the crash knocked the woman and her son from the golf cart. He was airlifted to Ocala Regional Medical Center. She was transported by ambulance to a local medical facility. Both had suffered head injuries. The driver of the Lexus was not injured. Death and dementia are creating a serious problem at an abandoned home in the Villages. The home at 316 San Marino Drive in the village of Rio Ponderosa was the subject of a public hearing Friday morning before the Community Development District 1 Board of Supervisors. Dale and Sharon Wheeler purchased the home in 1995 for $104,000. A complaint was lodged with community standards on August 29th regarding overgrown grass, weeds, and mold growing on the home. Community Standards has been unable to contact anyone associated with the home. Supervisor Kathy Porter said she lives in a neighborhood and is familiar with the home and the Wheelers. She said Dale Wheeler is deceased and Sharon Wheeler is in a facility with dementia, or she may be dead, Porter said. She said the couple had no children and no other immediate family. This is going to be a serious problem, Porter said. Officially, the board granted 7 days for the property to be brought into compliance. Supervisors indicated they had little hope it would happen. If the property isn't brought into compliance, the district will begin to maintain it. Fines will be assessed against the property each time it is mowed or power washed. Well, I see how many holes in ones we got this week in the villages. Oh, my Lord. They've been playing hard. Looks like we got maybe 6. Mary Ann Schlater Hasty of the village of St. James got her 6th hole-in-one on January 6th at the Sarasota Executive Golf Course. Well, congratulations on your hole-in-one, Mary Ann. I used to play Sarasota when they first put it in, but then they made changes on it, and I quit playing it. I wouldn't play it anymore. It just took all the fun out for me. Carl Philhart of the village of Pine Ridge got his first hole-in-one at hole number 10 at Mickey Lee Pitch and Putt. Congratulations on your hole-in-one, Carl. Villager Tom Albert got a hole-in-one on January 5 at hole number 7 at Walnut Grove Executive Golf Course. He was using a 9-iron. Great job there, Tom. A village of McClure, a resident, finally got a hole-in-one after golfing more than 6,000 holes. Chris Brown got the lucky ace on Wednesday at hole number 1 at the Richmond Pitch and Putt. He used a pitching wedge. Congratulations on your hole-in-one, Chris. Villager Ken Beckman got a hole-in-one while golfing at Bonita Pass Executive Golf Course. He scored the lucky ace at hole number 1 at 111 yards using a pitching wedge. Congratulations on your hole-in-one, Ken. And I saved the good one for last. This will just show you just how active our community is and how really age here is only a number, truly. A 97-year-old villager got a birdie while golfing at the Silver Lake Executive Golf Course. Adeline Haberland, who has lived for more than 30 years in the village of Country Club Hills, got the birdie on January 7th at hole number 9, which is a par 4 hole. Well, congratulations, Adeline, on your birdie. Those are tough to get to, and I appreciate you getting that at 97 years old. Ain't that great? Congratulations. Let's read some letters to the editor, see what's on everybody's mind. By the way, when I get these things, I don't pre-read them. I'm not the best reader in the world. I probably should start pre-reading some of this stuff. I just read it the first time, just like you hear it the first time. To the editor, I find that the arrest reports in the villagesnews.com are helpful. For example, I learned that the Wawa at the corner of County Road 466 and US 301 is the epicenter of crime in this area. It seems to be. There seem to be more arrests made there than any other location in Central Florida. Check back here for more insightful opinions. That's sent in by Joe Wood, the village of DeLuna. Well, Joe, I got to agree with you. I said that before. I don't know what it is about that Wawa up there, but it sure seems to attract a lot of bad folk. Thanks for the report, man. Here's another one. Letter to the editor. Someone needs to wake up if they think we live in Camelot. Sure, the villages is a great place to live, but it is expanding way too much. With population explosions comes complications. I stopped the Village's Daily Sun because they never published what really was happening. I suggest if you want everything sugar-coated, subscribe to that paper instead of bashing the villagesnews.com, which reports reality. That's sent in by Sue O'Brien from the village of Summer Hill. Well, Sue, let me tell you, I've learned by doing my videos and things that no matter what you video, no matter how you video it, no matter how you report anything, there is a big number, and I'm going to say over 50% of the people do not want to know. Remember that old Jack Nicholson movie where he would say, "You can't stand the truth." That is the truth. They don't want to hear it. They don't want their dreams bursted in any way. They've got this idea in their head what the Villages is. They're going to retire here, and I don't want to hear anything bad about it because you're ruining my dream. Well, sorry, because I'm going to continue reading all these reports about everything that goes on because you have the right to know. And you'll never see anything in the Village's Daily Sun because the developer owns that paper. And if he puts anything in there that could cause the sales of his homes not to go the way they really want them to go, it's not going to be in that paper. They just won't do it. I had to go to the Wildwood Police Department under the Freedom of Information Act so I could report truthfully. I already knew, but I wanted to have proof because I got emails from people saying they thought I was lying about the cars that were broken into and stolen in Deluna. Because you notice you've never seen it in a paper anywhere. You still have it. You heard it here first. Let's read another letter to the editor. To the editor. A good news group reports all the news. I don't know how I got on all these all of a sudden. I got all this news stuff. A good news group reports all the news, good or bad. Unlike the Village's Daily Sun, which only reports the good. That's sent in by William Basso from the Village of Silver Lake. Well, you know, William, you've been here long enough to know, and the rest of you know, that there's a nickname that they give the Daily Sun here for good reason, and it's called the Happy Paper. One more letter to the editor. I'm trying to find one that's different. Here's one about golf carts. To the editor, I find it totally ridiculous to put an overemphasis on speeding golf carts. I can understand finding cars going 30 plus miles per hour, but in my 16 years in the Villages, I see very, very few on the paths going that fast, let alone worrying about those going maybe 24 mile an hour. That's pretty much about the extent of most of the gas golf carts I see when they're really not souped up. There's a little trick to it, but about 24. Yeah, that's about it. If you're worried about safety, how about putting more speed guns out on Buena Vista Boulevard, Morris Boulevard, or some of the neighborhood streets to see how many speeders you get in those much heavier, full-size vehicles? And that is the truth. Well, I think that's going to be it for the news this week. I appreciate it. We're back from Kentucky. We got our family friend here, and so we're just going to sit back and relax and enjoy. I'm tired. The driving in that weather and everything, I'm just getting to be an old man. I can't take it much anymore. I can't drive that 15 hours straight. I got to have a stop halfway in the middle. I'm just getting to be broken down. So if you haven't been a Patreon member, think about it. You can start in at $2 a month. It goes all the way up to $25 a month. You pick any level you want. And right there, Patreon. And we have a new feature for my Patreon members only. It's a 24/7 Discord. And you can get on there and you can chat with anybody that's on there. Everybody that's on there is a Patreon member of mine. So move over to Patreon for $2 and you'll get a lot more there. And like I say, we have a new Discord there. It's 24/7 for all of my members. You get on there anytime, and people get on there all hours of the night. I've seen people pop in on there at 1 and 2 o'clock in the morning when I'm doing this, when I'm editing, and I have my Discord over here, and I can look over there and I can see people popping on, and I talk to them, and then they talk to each other about things. Mostly they talk about the Villages. Have you ever been there? What did you think? What area did you like? And they just exchange ideas, which I love that, because don't take my word for everything, because everybody's different. Everybody has their own different idea of what they want. And so my Discord offers that 24/7 to my members only. And for $2, you get that. And the other thing you'll get on everything I put on there is commercial free. You get the news right here. You'll get it early. The Patreon will see this news before YouTube does. And they get it commercial free. So anyway, thanks for subscribing. Thanks for being a Patreon member. And thanks for watching. Tell your friends about my channel, because we're slowing down when it comes to new members. And always remember, don't forget, we'll see you on the other side. And
don't leave your keys in the golf cart.